don't even really know how to explain how I'm going to say what I'm going to say because I still love her. I'm just not in love with her like I used to be. That's the nicest way I can say it, only because I'm annoyed by how fake she comes off. Her brand, not her. I don't think Beyonce is fake. Just like I don't think Kamala Harris is a bad person, but sometimes your team can make you move in a way that does not translate well. And as I've become deeper into both the culture, pop culture, celebrity culture, this and that, and have looked at the whole world, I kind of have a better sense on what's real and authentic and true and what's kind of manufactured. Particularly when you don't include other Black leaders in the culture in the fold. I mean, not just take me out of it. The Breakfast Club, I mean, you should have honored and brought more Black. And I spent thousands of over $40,000 in tickets and shared the experience with friends. And I've done a lot, and I'm not even going to say it here because if I did, this internet, Beyonce's good internet would go great. Black excellence, at least how they present themselves. I mean, but there are lots of things that people do say about these people behind the scenes. They do call them dark.
Breaking story we have today about Jay Z and Beyonce is that they are over. The two of them are pretending for their fans, they're pretending for the cameras, they're pretending while they're on tour that they're still a couple.
What if the flawless appearance that we have all admired for years was really smoke and mirrors? Never one to hold back. Jason Lee just revealed some shocking information that has completely rocked the Bayhive. He is asserting that there is a darker reality hidden behind all the glamour, the faultless performances, and that billion-dollar empire. One that might completely change our perception of the queen herself, and is based on power, deceit, and hidden secrets. And believe me when I say that what Jason is revealing is not merely rumors. Rather, it is the kind of information that has the potential to completely alter the course of Beyoncé's ascent to fame. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications before we reveal these startling details, because you will not want to miss the havoc that will follow.
I don't even really know how to explain how I'm going to say what I'm going to say because I still love her. I'm just not in love with her like I used to be. That's the nicest way I can say it, only because I'm annoyed by how fake she comes off. Her brand, not her. I don't think Beyonce is fake. Just like I don't think Kamala Harris is a bad person, but sometimes your team can make you move in a way that does not translate well. And as I've become deeper into both the culture, pop culture, celebrity culture, this and that, and have looked at the whole world, I kind of have a better sense on what's real and authentic and true and what's kind of manufactured. Particularly when you don't include other Black leaders in the culture in the fold. I mean, not just take me out of it. The Breakfast Club, I mean, you should have honored and brought more Black. And I spent thousands of over $40,000 in tickets and shared the experience with friends. And I've done a lot, and I'm not even going to say it here because if I did, this internet, Beyonce's good internet would go great.
Let us go back to the beginning of the storm. The actual change began when Jason Lee, the bold spokesperson for Hollywood Unlocked, was totally shut out of Beyoncé's private Renaissance premiere. While smaller influencers walked the red carpet like VIPs, he was left off the guest list after spending over $40,000 on tickets and merchandise as a token of love. That was not merely a snub to Jason. The message was straightforward. He went live in a rage, accusing Beyoncé of ignoring Black media and pointing out that her displays of support for her community may be a front. Fans initially dismissed it as just another celebrity outburst. However, Jason then began to imply that he had major receipts that may permanently damage Beyoncé's reputation, and things quickly turned gloomy after that. His remarks were more pointed, intimate, and detailed. On stage and off, he accused Beyoncé of putting on a front as this perfect, untouchable beauty while working behind the scenes to conceal the flaws in her world.
Lee from Hollywood Unlocked is calling out Jay Z and Beyonce. All right, saying that saying a lot. Saying a lot.
Jason's bombing was what actually got people to stop laughing and start paying attention. He claimed to have evidence that he was not just talking the talk. He bluntly stated on live that he would only remain silent if Beyoncé granted him an exclusive interview with Kelly Rowland. It no longer sounded like gossip. It sounded like a promise encased in a contract. The audience was in a state of shock. Was Jason indeed extorting Beyoncé in real time? Or was he simply cautioning her that if she attempted to silence him, he could destroy her entire brand? Then chaos ensued. According to Jason's sources, the so-called power couple was little more than smoke, cameras, and contracts, and Beyoncé's marriage had been in ruins for years. He asserted that they had been leading separate lives, traveling on different schedules, and only ever meeting for work and not for romance. At major events like the Grammys, fans began to notice the distance, rewatch previous clips, and relive their red carpet moments. People could not help but notice the sudden change in appearance from cool composure to chilly detachment.
Z name is getting louder and louder, and people are trying to connect the dots between him and Diddy, because let's not forget, they had a pretty close relationship.
During Beyoncé's comments, people could not help but notice that his smile appeared forced rather than genuine. Soon after, rumors circulated among the industry that the breakup was motivated more by money than romance. A huge $2.6 billion empire is allegedly at stake, and neither party wants to pull the trigger until all of the contract's coins are securely locked down. However, Jason Lee began to imply that the true tale was far darker and more profound, while the tabloids were busy making divorce headlines. He started utilizing coded language to drop cryptic clues, which fans eventually recognized were pointing toward the mounting accusations against prominent figures in the music industry. Jason asserted that Beyoncé was not as naive as people believed, and that her silence was a calculated move rather than an act of innocence. He implied that in order to ensure that she is untouchable when the system as a whole collapses, she has been deliberately distancing herself from the upheaval, quietly launching new projects, new business agreements, and a rebranding image. At that time, Beyoncé's old stories began to come to light again, and Jason's name was associated with each one. He reminded everyone of a long-forgotten fact and connected it all to reports from former insiders, such as Uncle Ron, her former bodyguard, who said before his unexplained death that Beyoncé was purportedly kept on drugs to stay docile, and that those close to her plotted every move.
Nobody knows, but I'll say it, man. Yeah, Beyonce's on drugs. She been on them for a long time, and you keep her that.
Next up was Jaguar Wright, who reiterated that Beyoncé is imprisoned by her own empire and lives in a gilded cage, while being idolized by millions. Jason took it a step further and implied that Beyoncé's immaculate image is Hollywood's most perilous delusion, a brand so well packaged that even her hardships are marketed for financial gain. Fans were already shook, but Jason's insinuation to Beyoncé's fame's origins was even more sinister. Whispering about hazy ages, covert mentorships, and eyebrow-raising relationships, he began unearthing old interviews and timelines that did not quite go together. According to Jason, her rise was not as idyllic as her admirers had thought. It was based on dubious transactions, unseen influences, and backroom manipulation. Before long, fans began connecting dots between the rumors, her discovery tale, and just how much of her early life might have been influenced by powers considerably bigger than her. When Jason began making connections, pointing out trends in the sector and implying that young women in the field are conditioned, manipulated, and silenced, speculation erupted. His fans immediately started contrasting Beyoncé's story with those of other celebrities who had come forward to admit to being duped. But Beyoncé never participated in the discussion. She did what she always does, which is to let her art speak louder than her voice, remaining silent, polished, and untouchable. However, Jason claims that quiet is a tactic rather than a sign of mercy. He asserted that she had maintained the bulletproof nature of her kingdom by learning to remain silent as everything around her burns. When fans recalled how Beyoncé had previously shared stages in commercial dealings with influential individuals who are currently under intense scrutiny, the story became even more bizarre. Jason did not need to mention names. Everything was conveyed by the tone, the timing, and the subtle hints. Beyoncé may not be as far removed from that catastrophe as she wants everyone to believe, he implied. Then the odd coincidences began to pile up. Uncle Ron's unexplained death, the resurgence of old conspiracy theories, and, most outrageous of all, the claim that Beyoncé staged her pregnancy with Blue Ivy. Jason's remarks, hinting that there may yet be validity in that story, just served to agitate the situation further. The infamous video of her baby bump folding on live television was even brought back by the fans, which sparked rumors of a covert surrogate, possibly even someone connected to her husband's history. People soon began to question whether Beyoncé's entire life, her fame, love, and perfection was just one huge act that she was no longer able to control. Fans prepared for a bombshell that might completely upend pop culture, as Jason hinted that he had even more alarming information to share. However, beneath all the confusion, his assertions revived a far more sinister discussion, the one concerning the secret machine of the entertainment industry. Jason portrayed her as the slave and the product of an empire too strong to ever fall. Fans were deeply affected by such notion. It changed Beyoncé's image from one of an untouchable icon to one of a lady imprisoned by her own invention. Some began to feel sorry for her, suggesting that perhaps she was the victim of her own story rather than the culprit. Others did not believe it, claiming she had always been aware of the game and had always put power before the truth. Jason's version is harmful because it blurs the boundaries between factual evidence and wild rumors, making it impossible to distinguish between the truth and fiction. People want to perceive a flaw in perfection, which is precisely why this story will endure. Even the slightest imperfection feels like breaking news when it comes to Beyoncé. But Jason claims that it is all evidence that she is preparing for the dissolution of the business partnership that made her a multi-billionaire. He drew attention to every small clue, including her lonesome red carpet appearances, her absent wedding band, those enigmatic captions, and the fact that she hardly ever discusses her private life these days. Jason believes that every action shouts strategy, a methodical, silent way out. One thing is certain, though. Jason has touched a nerve, regardless of whether people believe his account. For years, fans have suspected that the ideal couple in Queen may not have been as wonderful as we were told. Now, the internet is dividing as well, with some calling Jason spiteful, chasing clout, and still upset about that rejected invitation. Many acknowledge that Jason's remarks were a bit too personal. There simply is not enough smoke to prevent a fire of some sort. What about Jason? He enjoys every moment of the mayhem. He keeps insinuating that he is not finished yet, suggesting that everything we have witnessed thus far is just the start. He stated, "When you build your empire on deception, truth becomes your deadliest enemy," in one dubious post. Immediately, fans swarmed the comments asking if he was referring to Beyonce once more. However, Jason said nothing, and that said it all. There is now only one query on the internet. In reality, what is Jason Lee aware of? Is he feigning attentiveness, or is he hiding receipts that have the potential to upend the reign of one of the most influential figures in music? As of right moment, Beyonce has remained silent. What do you think then? Is Jason being honest, or is he just trying to gain influence by causing chaos? Leave a comment below with your opinions. Click like, share, and subscribe, and the next one will see you.